السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. We didn't decide today who's going to read. Inshallah, you can read. You are the okay. Hear your voice.
We are on 13.
Unfortunately, we don't have many copies, but we are supposed to finish the
It's okay, we'll
show.
listen.
You can finish. I can read it for us.
Please,
That's another extra copy if anyone wants it then.
if anybody wants,
You can pass. Yeah, I can pass this and I'll share that.
we want to keep it.
Yeah.
Your name was Alisha, right? Alisha. You don't need it? You don't need a copy?
You can share it.
Yeah, you can share it. Okay, Bismillah. Let's start reading first. I think we left off at
The
the
fourth
point.
The fourth point on page 13. So page 13, the fourth point. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we're continuing on with arguments of messengership. Second paragraph, the fourth point on page 13. Okay. Propaganda can only produce a superficial effect and close the ways to reason. Propaganda can only produce a superficial effect and close the ways to reason. But penetrating the depths of the hearts, moving the most subtle feelings, developing potentials like a rose blooming, arousing hidden or dormant characteristics, and causing the essential core of humanity to burst forth and blossom can only be achieved by the light of truth. I'm just going to read this again. Propaganda can only produce a superficial effect and close the ways of reason. But penetrating the depths of the heart, moving the most subtle feelings, developing potentials like a rose blooming, arousing hidden or dormant characteristics, and causing the essential core of humanity to burst forth and blossom can only be achieved by the light of truth. Indeed, it was such an unequaled revolution that this person purified hearts so hardened that they were burying female children in the earth alive. He took such people and furnished them with the most sublime feelings, such as love and compassion towards all creatures, including even ants. He took such people and furnished them with the most sublime feelings, such as love and compassion towards all creatures, including even ants. He realized this revolution, which was impossible to realize with the force of mere power or laws, in the Bedouin desert community. He realized this revolution, which was impossible to realize with the force of mere power or laws, in the Bedouin desert community. Everyone with some degree of discretion will confirm the extraordinariness of this accomplishment. If you have some discretion, you will also confirm it.
Can you summarize backwards what we have been doing for 34 weeks? It's just very rough
Sure.
outline.
It's a tough one, but what we're doing is we're trying to establish, first of all, the need of messengership in our lives. Like, each one of us need to question, do we need a messenger? Do I need guidance, right? And do I need messengership? And its importance really comes based on how much we are aware of the purpose of our being here. So moving on with establishing this need of messengership. So the author walked us through in terms of, I must come to a conclusion, through my observation evidence, that there must be an institution of messengership. And so we've been specifically looking into the messengership of Muhammad. Historically, as most of us know, him being a messenger, so we were, kind of trying to establish that.
And also, how can we make sure that the creator of the universe, the owner of this existence, speaks in human language?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most difficult part of it.
Mm-hmm.
How can we make sure? We may need it. You understand, I need messenger. That's correct. How to interpret the existence, etc., again, employed by the creator of this universe. But I can get away with it by saying that, if we don't know a subject, we need some teachers. That's correct. Definitely correct. Yeah, but how can I make sure that God spoke or speaks and spoke in human language? We studied those parts. That's why it is really, it has been taking a long, long time to establish this matter in our mind, that messengership is first, from the existential point of view, it must exist. There must be such a thing. Second, from human needs point of view, there must be such a thing. Human beings need it. And all human needs are met, satisfied in creation. And how about this need? There are some needs which are not really in the existence of, only the existence of the universe. Such needs, there are some needs have not been satisfied when we don't really look into the matter seriously. One, the most important of it, I need a teacher employed by God, directly instructed by my creator without human interference or human thinking or human development, human's own wisdom beyond this. That's one. It is not provided in this creation, in this world. Because when you look at the universe, you don't see that human need is satisfied in the world as we see it. That they call it the nature of the universe. The qualities of the universe, the way the universe exists, points to the necessity of such an institution, such a matter, which that this God must speak to human beings in human language. The second matter, which is not provided by the universe, but there are many signs pointing to the necessity of this, is eternal life, eternal existence. In the universe, there's nothing eternally exists. But human beings are desperately in need of eternal existence. Plus, eternal satisfaction. All the desires given to me need to be satisfied. Why? Otherwise, the existence of the desires doesn't make sense if they are not going to be satisfied. This is, we studied before we started Messengership. This is the door of the resurrection. But it has been a year, I think, we started these two subjects, which are very much neglected in the community, every community, which are not really emphasized in the community, the importance of these subjects in the community. What usually we take it for granted. Human mind is difficult, very simple. Limited, not difficult. Human mind is limited, cannot understand anything, so we need guidance. Yeah, well, it's true, but it doesn't really. We need guidance from creation. Creation can guide us. Why does God speak to human beings in human language? And there's no sign of it that God is speaking. I didn't hear any voice. God is speaking. It is something serious consideration. It needs a serious thinking and satisfaction of the reasoning that it must be so. There must be such a thing. That's why it is difficult to work on it. But it is difficult, not many people work on it. Because it's difficult. It needs a deep reflection, long reflection. Not only 1 hour, 1 day, 1 year, even more than. Needs a long reflection. Not. Yeah, that is, now we said, we studied all this. If somebody is interested, can go and follow the video recordings. Now we arrived at the messengership of Muhammad. We have been studying also how do we know that that particular person is a messenger. Yeah, if we are, but we can only talk this after establishing that such an institution must exist. Okay, let's say we studied, we thought about it, we are convinced, okay, now, okay, where is he? Where is the messenger? So, the history tells there were many messengers, but in this time, which is related to the messengership mission of the Prophet Muhammad, so is he really? Now, the question that we have been dealing for away for a month or so, maybe more than a month. Is he really? How do we know? I haven't seen him. Even now, if I saw him, I don't know how he receives the speech of God. Do you know? But he says, I receive. And I don't know. I don't see that God is speaking from behind the clouds, so, as people usually imagine. No, there is no such thing. Even the very close friends of Muhammad haven't seen anything like that. How do I make sure that he was one of those who employed by or appointed by the creator of the universe? That's we have been struggling actually to understand, not understand, struggling to understand. Okay? Now, many examples and evidence since we have been studying. Now, the fourth point, there are many, it's not the fourth, this is the section of other subsections. The propaganda. Now you can tell us what propaganda is, as you read it.
What I understand from propaganda would be just following something without questioning it. Yet doesn't satisfy one's humanity.
Yeah.
And it closes the ways to reason as well. You just go with the flow, you know.
Go with the flow, yeah.
And
close the ways to reason. Propaganda, for example, fashion. Ask people why they follow fashion. Or ask yourself, ask myself, why do I follow the fashion? Which rationality behind? No, not at all. I don't know any rationality behind following the fashion. It's propaganda.
Yeah, can I propose a counter argument, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about this, let's say if I have to buy clothes anyways, might as well buy something that's appealing and latest.
Appealing?
And latest. So
You can sit on the chair. Yeah. No, that one.
Thanks, Brad. So let's say I need to buy a shirt. I can either choose to buy just any shirt without questioning it. I'm just like, okay, I need a shirt, I buy it. Or I can say, oh, that celebrity wore that shirt. It's more appealing to me, and therefore I get that one.
Every 6 months it changes.
Sure. and I get it, right? And maybe there's an instance where I need a shirt every 6 months, and maybe there's an instance where I don't.
I don't think there's reasoning behind it. And the reason doesn't decide. Just follow the flow. Just follow. Every 6 months you have to follow the flow wherever it goes. It means you are a puppet. So.
But I don't know if anyone just follows anything without having some form of personal conviction tied to it.
But yet that conviction doesn't acknowledge reason. That conviction doesn't acknowledge even realization that I have to do that, really. But this acknowledges what? I am a sheep in the herd. I follow where the herd goes, I will go as well. That is the reason. So I don't want to be stand up. Definitely from the community. Why? What's the reason? Is it satisfactory, especially the reason which can be confirmed by the witnessing of nature, the way the things exist, by the witnessing of human reality. nothing to do with it. To me, nothing to do with the human reality. Just following the herd. And also, we know that, as your example states, actually, it produces a superficial effect. It means not essential, superficial. For the moment, as the society is like this, most of the people are doing, I'm doing as well as a sheep. And we are not satisfied with it until 6 months, not 6 months, nowadays every 3 months it changes. Superficial is not essential. Propaganda. For the politics, for example, in the political arena, the people said, okay, this is the best man, and after 4 or 8 years, they changed their mind, he's the worst man. Superficial effect, but essential. Not really confirmed by the constant reality of the things they come into existence. It means nature, but they call it nature simply, in quote unquote. Constant. For example, the principles, the laws of creation doesn't change. Yeah? So your understanding or your interpretation of creation also needs to be stable. Yeah, you need it because your conclusion is driven from the witnessing of the creation. The creation doesn't change. So your conviction should not change. Not only in 3 or 6 months, but it should never change. Because as far as you are concerned, the laws of the creation doesn't change. So there, the laws being the witness to the qualities of its creator, their creator doesn't change. Because the creator acts in the same way, always. Their witnessing also doesn't change. They witness the same thing. We talked before that there are constants in the creation, never change. And also we said our constants are not this natural constants, or they call it they don't call it creation, or they call it natural principles. The main pillars of the creation never change. We said, yeah, it is true, but it doesn't mean anything. And it witnesses something that the one who established this order of the universe creates the universe, gives existence to the universe based on the same principles. That is the physical example of it, physical constants. Physical constants are example of the way that the creator follows the same pattern. But they point to what? The necessity of the existence of a conscious creator, the one who established the order. Right? We follow that a conscious being must establish the order because so precisely measured. And it works in such a way that not only on one instant, continuously changing order, keeps the same constants, and always producing the same results. That is very important. Why? For example, the universe is continuously changing, but is always wise, always useful, always productive, always purposeful. So we said the real constants we deduce from the universe are the fundamental qualities of the Creator manifested in the universe. For example, at every second, in a fraction of a second, whatever exists, we see that in order for this to come into existence, the source of it must be absolutely powerful, must be absolutely knowledgeable, must be absolutely free to choose. Decide, not like this, but it should be like that. This is the most effective form. Must be absolutely wise, etc. These are the constants in the creation. So according to these constants, human beings must come up with a conclusion that the creator of the universe must have such and such and such and such qualities. Right? That is a rational conclusion. This is a rational conclusion. And approved, confirmed by the witnessing of the universe, the way it exists. By the way it exists. Nothing strange. We are not referring to any Quran says so, Bible says so, this kind of narrations. No, we are observing the universe. That's how human mind works. That's why human reasoning must have a base which, for its conclusions, must have a base which never changes, because the constants in the creation never change. What they point to is also never change. What they point to also never changes. Yeah. So if someone's conclusion is not stable, it doesn't have a stability, what does it mean? It is not the result of reasoning. That's why, especially this fake, artificial community, based on, in order to impose itself, influence the minds of the people superficially, not essentially. Superficially, they always use propaganda. They show it, they repeat it, and produce the products accordingly, and gives the image that you have to follow this fashion. Right? And people said, look, everybody's doing it, I should do it as well. I don't want to single out in the society, myself in the society. Why? Because we don't have our own personalities. We don't have our own personalities established on solid reasoning and convinced. We are not really convinced in our conclusions. We may follow a certain tradition of a belief, but we are not convinced, so we just follow the way the people are doing around us. So what we will see now, why are we talking about this propaganda and, of course, being carried away by fashion, is what Prophet Muhammad did. What kind of success he made in his life is not the result of propaganda, because this is not after 6 months everybody's changed his mind. They changed their mind according to teachings of the message that the Prophet brought to them, and that's it. 14 years, 100 years, it has been in the same way. And it convinces me now as well. Because he will study, because it is confirmed by two: nature of the creation in the world, nature of human beings. It doesn't contradict my feelings, the way I reason, the way I feel, the way I expect my feelings, expect something, and that's my reality. It doesn't contradict. That's why we don't change. It's causing the essential core of humanity to burst forth, and blessing can only be achieved by the light of truth. Because if it wasn't true, it should be in the form of propaganda. Propaganda is not doesn't really stay longer and cannot be confirmed by human rationality. But what the prophet taught the people around him, and those people who followed his teachings afterwards, they made a change in their life once and for all. That's it. Can you, after studying the fundamental teachings of the Quran and being convinced under the witnessing, now the Quran teaches under the witnessing of the creation and human qualities. Now, three of them work together. Right? Quran says something, universe and human nature witness to the truthfulness of it, and human beings become convinced about it. That's what belief is. In fact, belief is not what you heard from your community, from your family culture. Your conviction under the witnessing of the universe and your human nature, by using it and seeing the conformity between the two. That is called belief. Not what you heard from the culture. Every person who is born into a community hears something from the culture. And they follow the culture, the fashion for them, like fashion. But what Muhammad's revolution in human life or in the society, he started this mission, the prophetic mission, changed the minds of the people for good. And everybody is satisfied with it. Only those people who don't know what Muhammad taught may not be satisfied because they don't know what Muhammad taught. They just imitate the society without being really convinced by using the evidence. They may change their mind. They don't know. It doesn't really matter. We have to check with ourselves. Am I convinced about it? Really? Then work on it. And he says you will definitely be convinced about what I'm saying. That's what it claims, and you have to study. And if you are convinced, welcome. If you are not convinced, reject it. But study it. You're superficial, for example. Nowadays, people want to date. They don't know what Muhammad really taught, or what the message was all about. They look at the society. In the society, there are certain values, established values in the society because of the propaganda. And we are indoctrinated with certain ideas, understandings, but you don't know why. That's what everybody says. That is what everybody does. That's what in the society. But for example, a very serious scholar I heard speaking, saying that the Prophet Muhammad introduced very subtle matters. These are introduced a Sharia And in the Sharia, he says, if, no, he doesn't really study the belief background of it. Yeah. If somebody does something wrong, the first thing he is expected to pay for it. How do you say recompensate? No.
Compensate.
Compensated is to free a slave. And then this huge thinking man says, it's ridiculous in this age. There is no slave. He says, I said, you are stupid, really. You're not a scholar at all. What do you understand from slave? Fundamental, depending on the society, the structure of the society. In certain societies, the slave may be the institutional matter, yeah. But in fact, we studied in other classes, actually on Wednesday classes, what slaves are, yeah. So we have to free the slave. How can you free the slave? In creation, not necessarily as a social institution. What is slave?
Ideologies.
Sorry?
The ideologies free people from.
Yeah, it is.
Distorted.
Anything in the creation, you can regard it as your slave, right? An institution also may say this man is your slave. So the fundamental, they are the same thing. For example, if there is a slavery institution, the institution of slavery in the society, right? If I have, as a result of this system, if I am a slave and I am the boss or I am the lord, he is the slave, right? If I click on.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Careful with this. And the prophetic message says we have to free, emancipate the slave. Why should I? Why should I? And he says, you are brothers. How can a person take his brother as a slave and he's the boss, he's the slave? He has no right to act on his own. Why should I? You are brothers. You should emancipate him or her because you cannot claim to be superior over any other people or any other thing. They are all brothers, creatures, beings, created by someone. So the reason behind it, I cannot claim superiority over anything else. I cannot say that you are going to be as I want only. You have no right of yourself. Yep. As if your existence depends on me. I can do everything. I can kill. During the old ages, especially when the Prophet first introduced the Sharia, the rules in practical terms rather than theoretical terms, practical terms, the slavery was such that they could cut in America, the famous, for example, they could cut their leg, no one can say anything. It's my slave, I can do anything I want. Right? So I can kill, but with the Sharia, that the principles, life principles that Muhammad introduced to people, depending on the interpretation of the creation, how this world, how we should see the existence of the things around me. Accordingly, I cannot treat anything, not only any human being, as I want. Everything has its own right to exist. I can utilize them, but I cannot enslave them to my own usage. I can utilize them if they are in the nature created for my usage. If I see that they are created for me. So utilization, for example, you don't know how to, let's say, make a door. You can ask a carpenter to make a door for you so that in return you pay certain amount of money to him or give him something in return, right? That's not a slave. That is utilization. Mutual help in the creation. We use that. When you drink water, it doesn't mean that you are enslaving water. You are utilizing it. But we have to pay back. What is that? When you drink water, what is the price of water?
Acknowledgement of its source.
Yeah, say it more clearly.
Acknowledgement of its source.
The mission.
Purpose.
It exists. Yeah. Purpose in its existence. You exist for this. You are employed by my creator. That's why I'm utilizing. If you use water without acknowledging the mission he is created for, what have you done? You killed the slave. In your mind, it is a slave now. I can do anything I want. It is my property. No, it's not your property. It is given to you for your employment. Do you understand, Amisha? It is given to you. It is prepared for you to use, but the payment of which is acknowledging that it is presented to you by its creator for use. Right? Not to waste. Not to commit murder. So that I can kill you any way I want. Yep. Slavery mentality is this. So he convinced the people that you cannot have slaves. If the institution acknowledges that you can, according to the laws, the legal system of the institution, you can have a slave, what the Prophet did practically eradicate this institution. But the mentality is the same. Not only human beings, but you cannot enslave anything in the world. You have to pay back. You have to pay for the service they are doing to you. But this person was amazing. He never thought of this. He thought only this institution in the social life of the community he is living in, the very simple-mindedness, narrow-mindedness, and saying that today the Sharia comes and tells me that you've done something very wrong. Okay, you have to emancipate. You have to free a slave. It is no slave, man. It is very simple-mindedness. It means any matter. We are going to say something with a very principle now, very fundamental principle. Any matter which is physically organized in the Sharia that the Muhammad introduced to people, right? It means the message. As a prophet, introduced, as a prophet, not himself. As a prophet, we have to say that the prophet Muhammad, the messenger Muhammad introduced to people. Any physical matter, taking wudu, making prayers and fasting, giving zakat or freeing slave, anything, not killing everything. All of them are fundamentally based on his world view that he introduced to human beings. If you then cannot, if someone doesn't put this physical action introduced or by the or through the Sharia introduced by the Prophet Muhammad as a prophet, if this person fails to put this action into the fundamental belief system that the Prophet introduced to human beings, he is bound to fail in understanding the reality because there's no foundation for it. So if someone says, I'm going to pray, why? Because it is ordered to me. Well, no, it's not a prayer. What really? I mean, some people may have some sort of reason, but the real conviction reasoning must be based on your worldview, existence. How do you interpret existence? What do you understand from it? What is the purpose of your existence, your life in this world? And to whom are you connected to in this world, responsible for your existence, for your living? What are they? If you don't question all this and say that I'm going to pray because I'm a Muslim, or I'm going to church because I'm Christian on Sundays, of course you don't understand what you are doing. You are just carried away by the propaganda of the society. But it has nothing to do with conviction. It has nothing to do with the teachings of the prophets. Do you understand the difference? So Muhammad taught people a kind of worldview, or through the message. Actually, we shouldn't say Muhammad. We have to say the Prophet Muhammad. As a prophet, because he did it as a prophet, not as Muhammad. Sometimes we refer to it Muhammad because if we are questioning whether he's a prophet or not, yeah, you can question. But if we are talking, if we are talking about the ideas, about the worldview he produced, it's not his personal idea, because we are talking about Muhammad as the one who brought the message from God. We have to say the Prophet Muhammad. If someone is not convinced for a satisfied reasoning that Muhammad was a prophet, he should never talk about the Sharia. No, the Sharia is not only practical, the worldview, everything. The message, whole message he brought to us. So, in order to be able to say the Prophet Muhammad, we have to go through a very serious stages. Very, very difficult stages. What made you say the Prophet? How do you say? Why did you say the Prophet? How do you know? Do you understand the fallacy that we use this propaganda language? Because my society says Prophet Muhammad, society Prophet Muhammad. It's a propaganda, following the fashion of the community you belong to. Do you understand? But the mission of the Prophet is not producing propaganda. It must be producing fashion. So I found always difficult to say the Prophet Muhammad. Am I really serious by using this language? The Prophet Muhammad. So if I am not convinced about the messengership mission, the profession, that such a thing might exist, one, that's the first step. The second step, it must be, if I am convinced. Then the second stage is Muhammad was one of them? If I am convinced about these stages, then I can say the Prophet Muhammad introduced this idea as a prophet, not a man now. as an employed teacher, instructor. So it is, we don't notice, we use it as in a cheap way. We don't notice that to say the Prophet Muhammad, let alone alayhi salatu wasalam or something, the Prophet Muhammad's very hard job. Why do we use it very leisurely?
Loosely.
Sorry?
Loosely.
Loosely. Why? Yeah, because our belief in the message he brought to us is sort of very loose, no base. That's a big problem. That's why we say we follow, we are Muslims, we follow the Sharia of Muhammad, etc., but really not. We follow the fashion of this community we belong to. Yeah. We are not serious people as far as belief system is concerned. Just we take it for granted. We are Muslims. Then the next door neighbor says we are Christians. I've seen them. They don't go. I don't think there is a movement. I don't know the next exactly, but I'm guessing that they don't go to churches, but they celebrate Christmas. Once a year, I hear them that they are celebrating Christmas. It means they identify themselves with Christian. I identify myself as Muslim, and that's it for now. So, to notice that the revolution, the change, which was established by the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, now we can use it, the Prophet Muhammad, after all these discussions. So, the Prophet Muhammad, the teaching established in the hearts, minds of the people in such a way that they never changed. Because, be careful with this word, is very important, there's constants of the creation never changes. You cannot see one thing existing without demonstrating the fact that I am given existence by an absolute power. Again, the same thing witnesses that I exist by receiving the existence from a being who is conscious and has absolute knowledge. Every single thing, study. Can one thing happen in the world randomly? These simple-minded people, very narrow-minded, especially the scientists are very narrow-minded in their interpretation. They say, well, I heard one of them, it's so ridiculous actually. In my youth time, the Carl Sagan was famous. Maybe he's still famous, I don't know. And he said, actually he didn't say that, but he narrates in a ridiculous way in order to refute the idea. In order to have an apple, you have to have the universe altogether. But Carl Sagan doesn't say this. In fact, in order to have an apple, you have to have the order of the universe in this way, as it is. You understand the difference now? You're having the universe, alaykum salam, you can school somewhere, don't worry about it. Where shall we school? You can see it. Yeah. No, just share.
I'll figure it out.
Oh no, we can sit in front of this guy. Doesn't matter. He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind. And get your two of them. People are not eating.
Sure.
Well, where is something? Okay, have this and they offer this. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, here you go. And also this shouldn't be left. Okay. Where
The apple in order to
yeah, but the existence of the universe is not enough. The order of the existence of the universe as it acts must be necessary. So this, I mean, scientist, he says he's a scientist, he's interpreting the creation, whatever they call it. They don't call it creation. It says no. It looks like very reasonable. In order to have an apple, you don't have to have the universe, because the universe exists in such a way that it ends and produces apple as a result of what? You cannot believe how simple-minded they are, how idiot they are. The random happenings. In the universe, random happenings produce the apple. He's a scientist. You can ask them, excuse me, is there anything randomly happening in the universe? So the science must be a temporary thing. Do you understand? Because if it is random, you cannot establish any scientific principles. And this computer should not work. Last year it worked, this year changed randomly. Or let's say 1 million years ago. Anyway, is there any random happenings in the order of the universe? How can you say that it randomly developed in such a way that it produces apple? What I'm crazy, but I don't know. Do you think I'm simple-minded? Why do they speak like that as a scientist? He makes this case of creation and says everything is well established, order is well established, never changed. There are constants, according to them, physical constants, and according to our understanding, all these physical constants point to the necessity of the existence of the conscious creator's constant, never changing qualities, which are absolute, must be absolute, which must be absolute. Do you understand the difference between them? The physical constants show that it is a well-established order, well-planned order. These constants exist, so there is no random. Everything according to these constants. This is science. It's correct. You can see that in the creation, the way that it's created, the way the universe comes into existence, shows that the main principles of existence never change. And we have to be very careful. These tricky people is playing with our minds. And apparently they seem to be making sense. But at the end, what do they say? Without being ashamed of what they are saying as a scientist, randomly developed. Where randomly developed is a constant, it's never change. That's what you said. Yeah, that's what you say. Constants never change. So the order is based on the never changing constants. And that these constants randomly develop. Look at the contradiction. It's so ridiculous. That's very dangerous. This is not a fashion. To follow the science is also another fashion. This based on propaganda so much that this propaganda is the dictatorial propaganda. This propaganda is based on terrorism. If you study in a science department, if you don't refer your interpretation of the findings you find in the lab, right, and the other people, I studied this and I understood it is happening in this way, and I realized that it cannot happen randomly. Right? It means not evolution. What happens? Next day, you are out of the door. They cannot let you in. They say it's incredible. There is an unanimous names of scientists. Unanimous names of scientists. Did you know that this institution? Not unanimous names of scientists. They don't give the names. They say we don't give the names for political reasons. So they decide this book, this video, this talk, whatever, this person cannot teach in any science department. Did you know that? Have you heard of it? So there was a professor in biology, studies evolution and rejects the idea of evolution that proves to be impossible. He made a TED talk. And what happened? They banned it from video on the official video that the teachers can use in the class. And they said, why? He said, why? He said, this, that a scientific assembly, or they call it something, board or something, decided not to. He said, who are they? Let me talk to them. He said, no, we cannot give the names. It is unanimous. Look at this terrorism. Dictatorship is taking place within the science. And they say the science will explain everything. It means we will explain everything by twisting and cheat you. That is a temporary effect on the minds of the people, not convincing, because you just follow the fashion as long as it is accepted by the majority of the society. So simple-mindedness. What happened as a result of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad? He educated people, changed their mind once and for all. No one can argue against it. What? Because his argument is based on what? Not what God told me. It is important. That's what we may think. No. What God told me is based on what we see in creation. Creation is the witness, not the Quran is the witness. Creation is the witness to the truthfulness of the Quran. Quran is a guide. Tells you something. It says, this is what it is. Come on, investigate, and you will understand and end up with this conclusion. That's how I created the universe. Go and investigate it. Unfortunately, this is our problem, that we don't investigate. We take it, Islam, as a result of propaganda, the propaganda of our own society. And we think that it is just we believe without any evidence. That's what we think. Belief doesn't need evidence. You just believe it. You are a Muslim, aren't you? That's the vocabulary we developed, unfortunately. But in fact, when we look at the teachings of the Prophet, his teaching made an change in the root of the people's understanding, people's feelings, and it never changes. And no one can really produce an evidence to discredit it. It can't. I'm convinced, you must be convinced as well. But if you are not, work on it, inshallah. That's what they said. It is not a propaganda. That's it. It is not fashion. It is not a propaganda. Fashion means here not necessarily the way, the clothes you wear. No. For example, in let's say Bangladesh, it is fashion to be a Muslim. Yeah, that's it. In Bangladesh society, there may be minority there, and this minority keeps their minority idea, and their fashion is to be, let's say, Christian. That's their fashion. So everybody keeps the fashion, follows the fashion. So religion, the belief that Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad introduced to us, is not of the kind of fashion. No. So we shouldn't follow the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad like we are following the fashion. That is a contradiction. We have to realize it, inshallah. Okay. Yeah, I think we can continue if you like, or any other comments or questions, concerns.
I have a question. You know where it says arousing hidden or dormant characteristics and causing the essential core of humanity to burst forth and blossom? That can be only achieved by the light of truth. My question is like, what do we understand from the essential core of humanity?
Yeah, for example, essential core of humanity is to investigate, confirm, and be satisfied under witnessing. Without witnessing, no one can decide about anything. Anything. So witnessing the human beings have a universal witnessing from where? In the universe itself. The way the things exist. Because fundamentally, why, or let's say why, we conclude that there must be a God, there must be a creator, and this creator must have this and this qualities. How do we know? Fundamentally.
Through investigation.
Sorry?
Through investigation.
Through investigating what? Yeah.
Oh, existence, my own, and everything around.
As soon as you say the creator, it infers what? There's something created. And you notice that it is created, and it must have a creator. It must have a creator. Yeah? As soon as you have it. If you say that the creator is all knowledgeable, as soon as you say that creator is all knowledgeable, you have to have witnessing of known things. So that the one who gave existence to them must have knowledge. All the qualities of God is driven from their manifestations in the creation. Otherwise, we don't have an abstract notion about any matter related to belief. We cannot. Abstract notion. I believe that God is wise. You know why? It seems to be. How? That's what, my culture says. Something like that. Abstract notion. What is that? Why? There's no reason. So belief is not based on abstract notion. Belief must be based on sound evidence which convinces human beings. That's what we are, how we are convinced. Do you think a judge can decide about a case saying that I feel that this man is guilty? Do you have any evidence? And no, but I feel that he is guilty. What do they say? Get out of this chair, judge chair. No, you have to have evidence in order to make a judgment. When we make a judgment that the universe has a creator, it means we have to have evidence. And this evidence, this creator is, let's say, we keep saying the same word. This evidence, this creator is all merciful. Where is it? How do you know? Yeah. So we have to understand that belief is not based on abstract notion, but based on abstract notion. Itself, it may be abstract, because believing in an absolute is an abstract conclusion, but I'm saying based on abstract notion. I don't know why, but well, I say God is all wise. Why? All wise. What does all wise mean? Must be all wise. How do you know all wise? You know, but must be based on evidence. That is human nature. What was the question? The
essential core of
the
humanity.
essential core of humanity. What the Quran did, the message of the Prophet Muhammad did. What did it? First established what the nature of this universe is. Transient, dependent, needs to be given existence. Yeah, all the verses, the first verses, look at the universe. And the first verse is, very first verse revealed is what? Read. What? In the name of the Creator. In the name of the Creator, what are you going to read? If it is the Creator, what are you going to read? His action. Action of creation. So it means read the universe. Creation. Pay attention to it. Hey man, where are you? Look at the universe itself. Will tell you what is it all about. And then afterwards, heavily emphasized on the transient nature of the universe. It is all transient. They will all be destroyed. Nothing. It means, I keep repeating this. So those people who follow the discussions regularly shouldn't get fed up with it. It means nothing. You know the description of the doomsday, last day, hour, they call it the hour. Yeah? The hour with capital H. So the description of it all boils down to what? The very simple. The things cannot sustain themselves. If the one who gave them existence wills, can destroy it. Because their existence does not depend on themselves. All the horrible, really horrible description of the doomsday or the last day, the hour, that everything will be destroyed or thrown like a cotton. All the things you think that are very substantial. The sun is not, no one can destroy it. The stars and galaxies are so powerful. Even they cannot destroy the atom, let alone the galaxies. But anyways, you cannot, but the Quran says, no. They can be, depending on the will of the Creator. What does it mean? It infers that these things do not have existence by themselves. They are dependent. So don't be frightened of the description of the doomsday. Don't worry. Most probably we will die before the doomsday. Most probably it looks like it. For thousands of years it has been in this way. Not because, everything will be thrown away and completely destroyed and all the universe will be upside down and what am I going to do? No, you cannot do anything. So don't worry about it. But these are all fundamentally the message for us that the universe cannot sustain its own existence by itself. It is dependent. Very simple. Yeah, for example, this is me. Okay, this is me. After I die, you will see how my all cells and atoms, everything will be destroyed. Yeah, because well, they cannot sustain by themselves. I cannot sustain them. It's obvious. That is the doomsday of my body. Yeah, the universe is a body as well. It will be destroyed, definitely. Must be, because it doesn't have its own existence by itself. Simple, so simple. So we have to understand the purpose in the speech of that, in the message that the Prophet Muhammad brought to us.
I'm having a little difficulty understanding one point. So according to this passage, I understand that during the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad, his mission was clearly attached to the essential, you know, part of humanity. It was addressing something that was constant amongst in creation and addressing that in humanity and changing that something changed in them forever. However, today I'm trying to understand, is it the mission of the prophethood of Muhammad exists today, but I personally don't see it change anything. Is it because it's not being explored in the right way, or I don't know, like why is it that we do not see any evidence of this message change people's lives other on a large scale? Maybe individually there are cases, but on a large scale, what is the evidence? Where should one find that evidence?
Does it have to be in a large scale?
In that
Depends
time,
on
it was
the
a
development.
revolution for a society.
For example, let's say some physicists find out how the things are created, how the things exist in the world. How many people know about it? How many people know what's going on inside the atom or particles? No one knows. But if you study, you can get convinced. So if I don't study, this is my mistake. It's out there and calling me, come on, investigate, then you will understand. Investigate me, how sure I am, definitely you will be convinced. Those people who did it, according to the level they learned, they are convinced. Maybe if you say, I'm convinced as well to a certain extent, yes, you must have your evidence. But if you are following propaganda or the passion of the Muslim community, you are convinced about nothing. Well, it is not the idea that the Prophet Muhammad brought to you. It is not a mistake of this idea, it is the mistake of me. Well, I don't investigate. How many people investigate what the Quranic message is? How many? We are not as serious as if you are going to do shopping. What you do? What do I need? Or if you are a parent, you say, what does the family need? Make a list. And then take your purse, wallet. Do you have enough money to pay for it? Right? And in one of my dreams, I went to buy something, but I forgot my wallet at home. I was so, I don't know, maybe I was sleeping on my leg or on my arm or something. My spirit was so stressed, I have to open again all the way I came here. And I was so sorry because I didn't prepare myself, even for shopping. Even for shopping. How much do we prepare ourselves to understand who we are? Whose mistake is it? So what we do, this is the offer from the Creator by employing the messenger, and always the language of the Quran, the message, and the language of the messenger must be understood from the speech made from the point of view of the creator. It means suggestion. And it is up to us to investigate. It says, for example, somebody says something and the Prophet says, the Quran says too, God knows everything, don't worry. What does it mean? We take it for literally, for granted that, oh, the Prophet taught us that God knows everything, imitate the Prophet. The Quran and the Prophet doesn't teach anything in order to be imitated, then it would become a propaganda. Yeah, you imitate fashion without reasoning. Religion is not a fashion. Belief is not fashion. It's a very human need. So what we do, we have to do. Well, we do everything. We make lots of mistakes in our understanding of religion. But what we have to do is very simple. If the Prophet says, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. God knows everything. Don't worry. God will take him into account. Don't worry. And what does it mean? It is an offer to understand, to investigate, and be convinced that the creator of the universe takes everything into consideration. And everybody, as a result of, is responsible for the results of their free choices. Now, am I really? Is it really true? That's what we have to investigate and confirm it. If we don't investigate and come to a confirmation, reach a confirmation which satisfies my human needs, that's my mistake. But if someone tries sincerely, without being biased about any idea, and cannot get satisfaction from the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad or the mission that he brings to us, the message, then he has the right to say, it doesn't work, I tried my best. Like we criticize the scientists claim that everything is developing randomly and how the universe became randomly like this as it is. We said it doesn't make sense. We said it doesn't make sense. That was an offer from them. So if we don't investigate, it is not the problem of the prophetic message. It is the problem for me. It is my problem. If we don't investigate. But after somebody investigates and doesn't find it rationally confirmable, then he has the right to say that, oh, I studied, I concentrated on it so many years, I couldn't make sense of it, so I reject it. Yeah, that is his right to do that, if he didn't. But I don't think. But this kind of texts, or the Quran, or the prophetic teaching must be understood in the form of guidance, which means offer. This is what the reality is. Go and investigate it within your own capacity. You don't have to be a scientist. Go and think about the creation. Everything. How the things are coming into existence. How your human qualities came into existence. Just think about it. Don't take it for granted that I do this, I don't like this, I prefer this. For what? Think about it, how serious they are. Are they under the influence of the fashion, or are they really the result of your rational conviction? And also confirmed by your human feelings. Because we cannot really isolate our conclusions from our human feelings. So no one can make a shopping without letting his feelings interfere into the decision of the shopping list. I like this. I should get let's say, pineapple. See, nice. Yeah, right, pineapple. You see what I mean? There's no rationality behind it. You say, just I like it, I enjoy it. That's feeling. So with the people, to a certain extent, everybody has some sort of base. But uh, we have to be careful that we think as Muslims, we are absolutely sure Quran is really true. Yeah? But we don't notice that every Jew believes in the same way that the Torah is definitely true. Every Christian believes in the same way, with the same reason, that Bible, the gospel, is definitely true. There's no difference. The difference is where you make investigation. I think we can read the conclusion quickly. No, I mean, if there is no other question on this one.
The conclusion. World history witnesses that one who is able to arouse and develop one or two feelings, characteristics, or potentials is considered to be a genius. World history witnesses that one who is able to arouse and develop one or two feelings, characteristics, or potentials is considered to be a genius. 4. If certain feelings, characteristics, or potentials are not aroused or developed, any success realized will be unstable and transitory. So, it was only possible through the shining light of the sun of the truth that hundreds of feelings, characteristics, and potentials such as freedom, devotion, love, self-sacrifice, and heroism were roused, motivated, and developed in the Bedouin communities living in the vast deserts of the Arabian Peninsula of 13, now 14 centuries ago. I will trust the Arabian Peninsula under the eyes of those who do not place this truth in their minds. Look at the Arabian Peninsula after 13, now 14 centuries of scientific and technological development. Send there, or even any part of the modern civilized world, 100 of the most renowned philosophers, pedagogues, psychologists, and sociologists. Let them strive there for 100 years and see whether they are able to accomplish 1/100th of what this person, upon him be peace and blessings, achieved within 23 years. That is the end of the conclusion.
I don't know if you have any experience of the Midwest redneck patriots in America. Can you change that? Can you change their idea? American people are the super people in the world. I don't think it is possible. Only as the text says, you have to affect the people's fundamental feelings, such as their understanding of freedom, devotion, love, self-sacrifice, heroism, etc., based on their human feelings, characteristics, potentials, must be genuinely changed, not transitorily. In 23 years, especially the worst society of the time was the Bedouin desert Arabs. They had no civilization, nothing, just only the obstinate followers of tribalism. My tribe is the best. That's it. There's no other value. And these people became very short time. They changed. Definitely no tribalism at all left. Yeah. And they made not only humans as brothers, all human brothers, sisters. No, they made all creation as brothers. Conscious beings. Everybody knew that. Still, they know that the universe is unconscious. The things are immaterial. Sorry, the things are inanimate. But the Quran says no. They are very conscious of what they are doing according to their capacity. They are announcing the qualities of their Creator. That's their mission to be here on earth. This understanding changed his mind so much that at the end of this change, everybody respected, even the smallest creature, and paid attention to it, saying that you are a valuable messenger for me. You are a missive, you are a message for me. You are a letter from my Creator. I respect you. I use you in the name, in the permission of your Creator. Acknowledging who your owner is, because you own your owner allowed me to use, that's what I am using. Why did it work? Because its owner allowed you to use it. Yeah, why do you eat this? Because its owner allowed you to eat. That's what we should mean by saying Bismillah. Bismillah is a blessing for us. It's a blessing, that's correct, but why is it a blessing? Because we are acknowledging the owner of that property and asking his permission, Bismillah. For example, just simple. Can you drink alcohol by saying Bismillah? But it is created by the same God as as the one who created water. It is the product of the same source. Why don't you drink alcohol? Example. But water. Why? Because the owner of alcohol says you are not allowed to drink. This is my property. Yeah? I'm saying no, don't consume. If you acknowledge the ownership, then you don't consume. If you don't acknowledge his ownership, what do you say? What do? You say, okay, this is my slave. Let's go back to the discussion today. But I can use it as I want. So the prophet message established the minds of the people so much that they could never use anything of the universe without referring it to the permission of its own owner, creator. They just, is a phrase very commonly used with this consciousness, Bismillah, the first time. Now, because we found ourselves within a certain culture, everybody say Bismillah before you drink water. You know, I don't know, but you have to say Bismillah. Right? And that's what we don't appreciate the value of being conscious of what Bismillah means. Because we didn't go through this revolution. But those people who were educated by the Prophet did, because they didn't have any such concept. And they developed it. They said, Inshallah, for example, simple. Yeah. Well, we use it, Inshallah, yeah, we have something in our mind, but really well established. Maybe not well established. But they used Inshallah by meaning it because it changed their life for good. They were saying, I'm going to do this. I can do that. Yeah. Until I die, I do this and I like that, but like this. Until I die, when I don't know why, but we die at the end of the day. We understand this because it's the reality, human reality. We die. Until I die, everything is under my control as far as it is within my free will, the field of area where I can operate freely. But after the Quran came, no one could speak anything without doing or promising to do something without saying Inshallah. Why? Their worldview completely changed from the root, from the foundation. So we have to go through the same process and make this revolution in our mind. So why do I say Inshallah? What do you mean? What do I mean by it? Of course, it's got wheels, but how do you look at wheels? Have you not heard in the class in school saying that natural laws don't change? Yeah. So if got wheels, whether got wheels or not, natural laws don't change. I will do it. This is what I mean. Well, how are we going to reconcile these two opposite ideas? We have to think. It is not difficult to understand the reality, but it is difficult to decide that my belief system, my religion, must be based on questioning, investigation. I have to question. Is it really true? Because when I go to school, everybody says natural laws happen and never change. And when I come to my house or to go to the mosque, I say inshallah. But what's happening now? Which one is true? Which one is true and why? Yeah. Now everything happens through natural laws, or everything happens inshallah, if God wills. Which one is true? Don't use your emotional tendency by using propaganda from the society you see. You must be convinced that what the prophet did, because we have not experienced the radical change, revolution in our life. That's why when you say inshallah, it doesn't mean that my whole worldview changed. So in the school, the people say the natural laws act by themselves and never change. Yeah? What? Can it be possible to accept that? Yeah, it never changes by itself. It is natural, or it is inshallah. You see what I mean? This word, now let's talk with Alisha. This word works according to the will, the choice of its creator. The things cannot make themselves work by themselves. Atoms don't have mind. Right, Alisha? It doesn't make sense? So everything happens in this world, inshallah. According to will, according to choice of its creator. It doesn't happen by itself. Nothing can happen by itself. I must work on it. It's not difficult. Do you find it difficult? Because you are the youngest among us. So. Yes or no? I don't hear.
It's not difficult.
It is not difficult. It's so easy. If only I think about it. Yeah? I don't follow fashion. Think about it. So next time when you are going to do something, you have to say, is it really true to do this? When you are speaking in a certain way, you say, is it really true to say this? Not because everybody says so. Is it really true? When you question it, the answer is very easy. If you don't question it, you just imitate the society. I think we, inshallah, 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 when I come back, then I let you know. Meanwhile, and we will carry on, inshallah. No one can guarantee, inshallah. Yeah. So today is 21st. So when I come back, we can continue. But if you like, do you think you may organize something among yourself? I won't be here. But how then? You can think about it and do something. But if you like the further notice, I don't know when, really, 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. Maybe, I don't know. I cannot say anything. Inshallah, if the Creator decides I will come back, and we will continue. I'll let you know. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة الرسول